The Inspector General of Police has approved the posting of DCP Tunji Disu as the new head of the Police Intelligence Response Team. This is coming after the suspension of Deputy Commissioner of Police Abba Kyari to give room for investigations following allegations against him by the Federal Bureau of Investigation. A statement by the Force Public Relations Officer, Frank Mba, says a special investigation panel comprising senior police officers has been set up to investigate the allegations. The United States District Court for the Central District of California said alleged international fraudster Ramon Abbas, also known as Hush Puppy, used Kyari to arrest and jail a co-conspirator. Now, according to a communique from the court, the arrest was made after Mr. Vincent threatened to expose a $1 million fraud committed against a Qatari businessman. Mr. Kyari was implicated in a bribery scandal involving Hush Puppy, and in his explanation about his links with the cybercrime suspect, he explained how his team responded to a distress call by Hush Puppy about a threat to his family, which turned out not to be exactly what it was presented to be. He maintains that no one demanded nor received monies from the complainant or his family. The Deputy Commissioner of Police said that Hush Puppy, in another occasion, reached out to demand a link to his tailor, which he gave him. Again, this, according to Mr. Kyari, did not attract any gratification. This is what we will be talking about in the next couple of minutes. I have with me in the studio leadership researcher John Ekundayo. It's nice to have you join me this morning.
Thank you.
Great. And we have Razak Olokoba in the studio as well. He's a social commentator. Nice to have you join me.
Thank you. Good morning, and good morning, viewers at home.
Great. Now, John, let me start with you on this. I know you've been following this development all the while, and as it is, this is a huge test for Nigeria, for the Nigerian police, and the leadership generally. How they're going to go about this, how they're going to resolve this, as the case may be. And not to make it look as if a hard-working Nigerian police officer,
highly decorated,
as it seems, is sacrificed. Like if I have to use the word, some persons use as the case may be. But give us the dimension of the overview.
What I would just say generally is that the eye of the world is focused on Nigeria at this time regarding this issue. It's unfortunate that one of our best, highly decorated, police officer, that have been behind cracking of crimes, highly wired crime, is involved in all these saga, in all these rackets.
Alleged to have.
Alleged to. It has not been proven in a court of law anyway, even though there are weighty evidence against him. But at the same time, it's not just about Abba Kyari, it's not just about Hush Puppy, it's about Nigeria this time. It's about our anti-corruption record. That's why the eye of the world will be upon Nigeria at this time. That's just what I can say on that for now.
Okay. Well, Razak, when it comes to law enforcement and so on, there are lots of things that go into it, especially for those whom criminals see as the barrier against their success when it comes to what they want to when they want to carry out their nefarious whatever. And sometimes they are moved to try to see how they can either bribe or induce, for them to have their way. How challenging is it from the law enforcement for maybe an officer like Abba Kyari or anybody for that matter, to keep maintaining that standard in a situation like Nigeria?
Well, if you run an intelligence network and underground exercise for security, a lot of things go into it, and that is why Nigerian police must brace up for it. As an activist, I don't want to say because someone is a police officer, I won't stand up for him. I will encourage, because public office holders, things a few things may demoralize them if Abba Kyari case is not handled very well. Then you read social media, and you read some comment and you wonder the background of some people, that what draws this kind of a conclusion. So for us, when Obasanjo was arrested for phantom coup, in spite of our disagreements, our grand disagreement with Obasanjo, we stood up for him and we fought for him and said that that's uncalled for. I did not vote for Abiola. But when it came to the question of justice, we stood up for Junta. So also about Kyari, I will, so that for record purpose, I don't want him to just go down to drill like that without thorough and proper investigation, because there are things that police officer may never admit to in the public. But whereas behind the curtain, there are things they agree to. There are police officers who go into drug, particularly to catch another drug dealer. So I'm not making case for Abba. What I'm saying, just saying in essence, is that when you see people like Magu falling, you see the repeated attempt on the former lady that died in the Senate, our lady on ADLA, several attempts were made on her life, and so it creates fear in my mind. And I watched Abba Kyari's video over and over and over again, at such a fine officer. That's on one side. On the other side is that, you see, international collaboration at times scares me, particularly when it comes to Nigeria. Nigeria is playing a major role in Big Brother in Africa. But they have created diversion for us with Boko Haram. There's no country in Africa that Nigeria is going there to fight their wars again, because we have our own war to fight here at home. So, and if I've read Fidel Castro's once again about CIA, you create fear. Anything FBI is bringing to me, I have a fear for it. Anything CIA is bringing to me, I have a fear to it. I have read Noah Chomsky, Anatomy of Lies. So all this literature taught us that when it comes to people who see as a standard at time, we have to be very careful about the standard that they are bringing to us. So I'm not saying that Abba should not be involved, but there should be a thorough and proper investigation. Those boys, they can't rest. There are rumors that they had a hand in NSAS saga. The boys involved in the wire, the Yahoo boys are involved. So, and they are sophisticated. So if they can't get you, they don't need the light, they will get you in the night. If they you see the video going out about Kyari is going to practice, what does that got to do with what he has? So I will recommend a trouble, because I've been meeting police officers, Nigerian police officers, and I'm going to where have you guys been all these days that we have been having bad image about the Nigerian police. So Abba Kyari has done a very, very, very good job for this country, and for that reason, we have to be very careful to handle this matter. I'm not saying that it should not be investigated, and the due priority should not be given to him if he's found them wanting. But I also want us to be wary of all these things that have thrown up.
Yeah, the Inspector General of Police has done what a lot of people call due diligence by at least suspending him first.
Yeah.
Nobody's saying you're guilty, but let's suspend. There are allegations against you. Let's suspend you first. Set up a panel to look into some of the issues that are brought forth and see what can be done and all of that. Would you see that as the best way to go right now?
Yeah, that's a right step in the right direction. The only thing, like Olukova said, is we need to be thorough about this. That's the angle I'm going to come in, the perspective. We need to be thorough about this, because like I said earlier on, the eye of the world is on Nigeria. So, and even I think late last evening, yesterday evening, an appointment had been made. Somebody replacing him in the office. Yeah, which is clear. So it's a right step. But then the kind of investigation has to be thorough, with all the international metrics. And then for me, another angle I want to actually come in is there's supposed to be, I don't know, if it is not, then there should be a rejigging of it. There's supposed to be a set of ethos for our policemen, for our security, for people involved in intelligence, in all these kind of security issue, especially a certain echelon of their profession. Is it like I remember for judges, for instance, judges, you can't just appear in parties like that, or you are spraying money or whatever. Is it because of their ethics? And for me, I see that this is the aspect that we are having some of our public officers getting themselves exposed, not just in the police. This is a time to reset things, so that we have this kind of ethos, so that people can be checkmated before they actually rise. Now, for us to lose a very efficient officer in cracking crimes, talk of it anywhere in Nigeria. Is it Southeast? Is it in the Northwest or whatever? Whatever case is giving Nigeria headache, Abba Kyari and his team will go there and crack. You see, but it's unfortunate that we're having this because it's an indictment anyway. It has not been proven in the court of law. That is the aspect. But then we need to set up a kind of body of ethos for our public officers, especially those who are involved in intelligence, those who are involved in police matters, security matters of this nature.
I want to assume that those ethos or standards or benchmarks are already there. But then I believe too that it is not everything that must be written down in black and white on paper. The British people don't have.
But what he's saying, I agree with him. Because when decadence become vogue, when we go pass it for law, it becomes a vogue. Today, I know people who committed suicide because of us people was arrested. I know of a lady, is an extended family member, an in-law. She committed suicide because us people were arrested. Because it's a role model. So when decadence is allowed for too long, it becomes vogue. And when decadence is allowed to persist for too long, it becomes communicable. It begins to affect people. And in a country that the economy is under depression, morality will also be under depression. The 90% of public office holder in Nigeria today, you can't say that it's the side that takes them home. Why not looking in that direction? So, and 2 plus 2 is 4 anywhere in the world. When people are not satisfied with the world they seek for unconventional means. If the fight against Boko Haram is not about gun and bullet. It is about the teeming unemployed youth. They have reserves any state they go of recruitment. Come to Lagos, you have reserve. Go to Kaduna, you have reserve of two all over the country out of 170 million Nigerian youth. So statistics shows that 10% of them are gainfully employed, and of the 10%, only 50% are happy what they are doing. So, if you are coming with this background, it is not going to stop. Police seek for unconventional means to survive. And it's partly their fault, and 50% the fault of the society and the fault of the government. They buy their shoes, the kind of school they go. Once, like I said, once not only police officers, once begin to rise, setting in public office holding, there are some things that, as an African people, because we are proposing that, you know that in Africa, Mike, if you are my senior brother, you must pay my school fees. How to stop that, I don't know. How to stop it is to begin to look at our style. Not to say that you are not going to take care of your mother-in-law again, but to look at our style, to look at the packages of a public office holder. We have to begin to analyze it until we arrive at a point where, as you rise in life, there's kind of life of many openings that God must introduce for you. 90% of senior public office holders in Nigeria can't be the house of their home, except they seek for unconventional means. We live in the same society. They served this country for 30 good years, and you think they're good? I have a boy whose father served in SSS and police for 35 years. When he was going home, Kyari gave him Okada, according to him. He gave him Okada, DJ of SSS. And the son told me, who was my staff, that I will never live a life like my father. You think if that boy has an opportunity to public fund, you will not steal? So that's what is going in the mind of many Nigerian youth today, that if I can't live a life like my father, I hope the public knows that too. So, and it's beginning to rub off on some of us who are older people too, that I must seek unconventional means. So if I don't want to suffer after retirement. So it is a whole gamut of things that we have to begin to look at. We can't isolate it and say that why did you do that? What led us into that? If Abba Kyari can fall into this kind of thing, it's an indictment. But it's a sorry case. If Magu is falling, about the lives of people who don't have this kind of moral standard, what will you say about them? So, in essence, what I'm saying is that we have to be very careful of Abba Kyari's case, because he's a role model to many Nigerian police officers. He's an agile officer. Yeah. If he's leading an operation, you can see the faces of, if he's addressing the media, you can see the faces of his boys. They look happy. They look okay. So if there's what we can do about it to conduct it in such a way that's not going to dampen the morale of upcoming police officer, we have to do it more so. All these crimes that are, the way it moves, the way the thing has moved around from Qatar to Kenya to America, back to us.
International.
Do we have the same respect? I'm not building case for Abba Kyari, but I'm always scared because if you look at the history of Africa, Europeans have always written history about Africa that are terrible. They never wrote a history of how we have enslaved them. They never wrote a history of how all the black people have lived under one constitution and organized government in life. What they have been written history, they started history at a point when Africa had calamity that has befallen them and scattered all over Africa. So anything that is coming outside Nigeria, I always worry of it.
Yeah,
but FBI and CIA. So I don't have evidence against that.
I want to respond to that.
But the point there is, if we have to be very objective.
Yeah, objectivity.
The case here is
not
not the context.
Exactly.
The context of this case is not the West against sub-Saharan Africa, as the case may be. It is the issue. In fact, nobody has been condemned about any.
It's just an allegation.
Can you explain
the
circumstance of what we have seen here from our investigation? That is all.
When both of you say not guilty, you can't go back to that post again. And that is a success for people who might be plotting against you.
But on the other hand, too,
that might be a success.
Yeah, but on the other hand, too,
you may not go back to that post again.
But an aspect where we're seeing it from the perspective of, let us not use it to dampen the morale of people. On the other hand, too, should we not use this to also act as deterrent to other officers who would?
Let's even leave the issue of deterrent aside. There's enough deterrent. Is that immediately there was an investigation, he has to be suspended, and now somebody has been appointed, like Olokoba agreed. Well, I'm looking at a perspective, and that perspective is really, the way we respond to issue. That's very key. You see, the way Abba Kyari, the subject of the matter, responded, or let me say reacted, because there's a way you respond. When you respond, it could be positive. You see, but the way he reacted with that social media post on Facebook,
what do you make of that?
Yeah, it really spoiled the matter, the more. So that is why we need all this kind of body of ethos. Like I served in the public service before I retired. There are certain things you don't even say. You don't say without your permanent secretary knowing, You don't say without your political. The accounting officer. You don't just go and say when they accuse you, and say, oh, you have done this, you have done that, and then you go to the press because. So these are part of the thing we are saying.
But isn't that the beauty isn't that the beauty of social media now? That gives everybody the platform.
Let me just say this. One thing I found out in this whole thing, and I want all Nigerians to learn about this. You see, because. You see why I said the post, all these posts actually is a kind of indictment. Now, I live in Singapore, and for a certain time I was there. I discovered that, you see, the way, and that's the way the Americans they do too. They don't just pick you, and even when you are committing crime, they will be watching, they will be taking records. Can you imagine from September 2019, they have record of Abba Kyari and the trip to Dubai? And they were silent. This case that came up that we are now hearing in Nigeria in July was actually in the court of California in April. Go and read it, 69 page. So they were meticulous. These are lessons for our security people here in Nigeria, that before they arrest somebody, they will just say, hey, he's a thief. Hey, and the guy will just escape when he gets a very brilliant lawyer, because you have not done the investigation. These are proper investigations that have been done. There are documents, there are pictures, there are phone, a lot of things that, you see, these are all. But for him going to the social media is a wrong step. It must not happen again that a public officer that is still serving, something like that happen. The head should take it up. Either the public relations unit of the force taking that up and speaking on his behalf, rather than for him to now say some things. In my native language, in Yoruba Common Parlance, it is said that they are alleging you that you are a thief and you are playing with the kid of a goat. Then how do we there are some things you don't that's why I said body of ethos. It has to be rigid for our public servants, especially those who are in the police force. It is very, very important. That's just what I would say to them.
All right. Razak, the point there is, this is a very challenging case, or it's a complex case, let me use it that word, and it's a challenge on Nigeria, because like both of you have agreed and said, the way we go about this case will send a lot of vibes or signal, our action or inaction. Because on one hand, let it not be that it is used to dampen morale of others who are working so hard like that, or who want to even see him as a role model and want to be like that. On the other hand, let it not be that the case will be bungled by making a wrong move, because we want to protect our own, because we suspect. The moment is an American thing, there's a suspicion. But the point there is, these cases, there are evidences around there. So how should we handle that thin balance to be able to come up with what the best is for this case and for Nigeria?
Well, just like how they look at Nigeria with suspicion, many of us also look at them also with suspicion. If there's an international collaboration, like my brother has said.
I use the word suspicion in parentheses.
If there are collaborations, the collaboration can't come the way we do run our things. I won't say in Nigeria, but the way some people run their own things, that after 1-2 analysis, it crumbles. They will be meticulous about it. So our image is important. I agree with you. I even know that your collateral is not even your property. Your name is your collateral. It goes everywhere for you. It opens door for you. It ends with a lot of things in life. But what I'm saying, in essence, is that what we are battling in Nigeria, we will talk about our image later. Let us secure Nigeria first. And if you have good officers, I'm not making case for him. If you have good officer that is bringing down all those bad guys, we have kidnapping, we have terrorism, we have all sorts of issues that is bedeviling us in Nigeria. And like we used to, our fear is that if you push it further down, what we are witnessing today, the case of Nigeria will not have definition. Sudan got broken up by secessionists. In Kenya, we know that Al-Shabaab is there. They are battling with Al-Shabaab. In Ethiopia, the Tigray region, they are battling with that. In China, we know. But Nigeria, you have 6 major insecurity issues that is combating us in Nigeria. So my concern is about how do you get someone like Kyari again. And that's why we must not be in a hurry. Sorry. It's important. Sorry, we must not be in a hurry to remove, like I said, once you begin to rise in certain stage in life, you can't protect yourself. It's the institution that must begin to protect you from making mistakes. Like Kyari's error now, if it is found to be guilty, I blame the Nigerian police. Because in the rest of the world, they keep record of your conversations. Yeah. And they call you to order. Like monitoring. They monitor you, they tap your phone, your wife, and the most diligent institution in this is at the DSS. The DSS, yeah, who have been our friends before, later explain to us that we can't help you. Our wife is monitored, our children is monitored. Similar thing must be done with the Nigerian police and all the public office holders. Once you begin to rise to stage in life, you must be monitored not to make errors, because human beings make errors. All this that is taken. The way you jump to social media will show you clearly that someone gave me a money and what's my own. Someone is stealing billions in America. You have arrested, what's my own? And that's the attitude he has put up. It is the institution that will educate him. That is not just you take something from somebody. These are things that you must not do. So, and that is why Nigerian police must brace up. We must brace up. We must not argue from a position of weakness with the FBI. You have 230 million Nigerians to answer to. A lot of people in the social media may have condemned Kyari. I'm not going to rush into condemning Kyari. This is my 31 years in advocacy and agitation. So, an experience have taught me that on so many occasions, they have used activists to destroy many prominent and upcoming public office holders, only for us to discover later that, oh, this is the game behind it. So, UFCC is there now. But when Mago has left again, what are the major things that, of course, the guy there is working, I can't deny that it's not. But you also be very careful, because you don't want to go the way of Mago. The new guys in NDLE, so those are my fears. Kyari has come on board now. This one, as fine officer as he may be, I know this one, I know what he has done in Lagos. But we also be careful that I don't want to go the way Kyari has gone. Let me be very careful. I don't want to step on toes. Because there with that fear too, that I don't know what led to Kyari's fall. So all these things are things that create fire in my mind, that we have to be diligent about what we are doing. And the Inspector General of Police I commended him. And he must begin to look at good police officers. We have a whole lot of them. The present commissioner of police in Oyo State, I've had a encounter with her on several occasions on human rights issues, and she has behaved very diligently in her path. So officers like that, is the duty of the police institution to protect them from unholy alliance or unholy relationship that may rub off on the institution.
All right. Well, the point there is, Abba Kyari is just one person.
Yeah.
And we will keep establishing that, well, all the issues are just allegations as at now.
Yeah.
He has not been found guilty of any,
court of law.
as in the court of law and all of that. So he's as good as innocent as at this point in time. However, whatever success he has recorded in the past, it was not just him standing up, going out. There's a team.
Yeah,
there's a collection of other people who would have been almost as good as.
Yeah.
But it's just like he is the head. So you take the credit for whatever is busted, for whatever crime is busted, for whatever crime is
on the other side.
Exactly. And all of that. So there are so many others and so on. Like he is saying, well, we need other Abba Kyaris and all of that. Don't we have them really?
Now, the thing is that's the very important point you are making, because there's something we keep missing in Africa. You know, in business school that I attended, outside Nigeria, is there's something about leadership development. There's something that we now, from leadership development to leadership succession. Okay. You see, we don't have to wait for a time like this for such an officer to develop, to raise up from his team people that could succeed. If I bring in somebody from outside that team, that show that there have not been enough leadership development. There have not been enough leadership succession planning.
That's correct. That's correct.
I think one would agree with that. Thank you so much, John Ekundaya, for your time on the program. Really appreciate you. Razak Olukoba, thank you very much for coming as well.
It's a pleasure with you, Mike.
Right.